It's now 4:30 on WKYT this morning. State leaders say West Virginia, a company there, illegally dumped radioactive material into the Blue Ridge landfill in Estill County.
People in Estill County dealing with the shocking announcement of radioactive waste in their community. They want answers.
And Republican candidates have made their last debate ahead of Super Tuesday. Which candidate took on Donald Trump this time? A couple of them, and that's still ahead this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. It's your Friday. We've earned it this week. I'm Bill Bryant.
I'm Rebecca Smith. Yes, we have earned it. And Micah, hopefully we have some nice weather ahead.
Yeah, it looks like that for the weekend. For today, it's still pretty chilly. This is your last winter day in the forecast until late into next week. We actually go on a string of really nice days, but you can still see some flakes flying in here. Possibility of some extremely light accumulation back toward the northeast and down toward the far southeastern areas into the mountainous regions. Now, a lot of that is just some flurries and a few flakes, but you could have some embedded snow showers that could put down a quick coating there on the ground, especially elevated surfaces in grassy areas. Temperatures are there in the 30s still again today, and it's not rising that much more. We'll call it around 37 later on this afternoon. Morning flakes, but afternoon looks much better. I'm going to show you a much better weekend forecast coming up.
All right, the sun will come out tomorrow. Thank you. Let's get to the news. The news left a central Kentucky community in shock. Sometime between July and November of last year, state leaders say a company from West Virginia illegally dumped 1,600 to 1,800 tons of radioactive material into the Blue Ridge landfill in Estill County.
As WKYT's Monique Blair reports, the Kentucky Department of Public Health says there is no reason to be concerned at this time.
Preliminary investigation of our radiation health branch employees indicates that there is no radiation level above what we would normally expect in the background at the surface of this landfill.
An investigation was opened earlier this month after a contractor alerted state officials that radioactive materials may have been dumped into the landfill. The state found that, in fact, 47 boxes, each the size of a large dumpster, had been deposited.
The material came in containers, okay, so it should have been secure in those containers before it got to the landfill. So the area that we're most concerned about is the landfill, that site itself, okay, and not other surrounding areas in Estill County.
It was illegal to dump this material, for one, because Kentucky limits where radioactive materials can come from, and West Virginia is not one of those places. Also, the material that was buried was more than 300 times the legal limit for radioactivity to be buried at a solid waste landfill. Although state officials say their preliminary investigation deems the area safe now, they are still looking at the potential effects that may have occurred back when the material was dumped.
First of all, what the potential exposure was at the time of the dumping to employees there and others who may have been around the site.
Well, the Division of Waste Management plans to site the landfill. They'll enforce the landfill to do whatever they have to make sure it's safe, which could include removing the radioactive material and sending it somewhere else.
Well, state leaders say the waste was dumped at the landfill months ago. Estill County officials say they did not find out about it until yesterday. The landfill is on Winchester Road, not far from the Estill County middle and high schools. Garrett Weimer talked to people who live nearby who say they now want answers.
Just across Highway 89 from the Blue Ridge landfill, Gene Reese and his wife have lived in this home for years, right next to Estill County High School. Maybe not for much longer.
Well, we'll probably sell out and move, try to. But I don't know who would buy the place having something like this next door to them.
Reese and many others in Estill County say they have a lot of questions after learning about radioactive material at the landfill.
Anytime the terms radiological gets thrown around, it's scary to people. Our very first, most important duty is to ensure the safety of our community.
County leaders are concerned too, in part because they say they found out about it from us.
Do you feel that this is something you should have known about before 2 o'clock today?
I would have hoped so, yes.
The county's emergency management director says the state assured him that this is not a public health threat to the community. But folks here aren't convinced. Not yet.
It's just pitiful that we would let something like this happen to the local communities.
Now they say they want to know why, and perhaps more importantly, what's next.
What will you be thinking about when you go to sleep tonight?
If I go to sleep tonight, I will be praying. That's for sure.
In Estill County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Estill County's Judge Executive Wallace Taylor says the landfill owner told him that none of their paperwork indicated the material brought in from West Virginia was radioactive.
Well, we have learned a southern Kentucky teenager has died after a crash. This happened yesterday afternoon on Highway 192 near College Park Drive in London. Police say a car was making a left-hand turn when an SUV T-boned it. The Laurel County coroner says the driver of the car, 17-year-old Christopher Hubbard, died in the crash. Police say a teenager in the car was airlifted to UK Hospital and at last check is in critical condition.
In Magoffin County, a grand jury has indicted 5 people in a vote-buying investigation. Those charged include Larry Shepard, who is the husband of the Magoffin County clerk, Renee Arnett Shepard. The grand jury claims 4 of the people indicted, including Larry Shepard, conspired to buy votes for the county clerk and Judge Executive Doc Harden during the 2014 elections. The 5th person is accused of helping with vote buying. A Wolfe County man is now facing charges for a deadly hit-and-run crash that happened on Christmas Eve. A grand jury indicted Keith Branham on reckless homicide and leaving the scene of an accident charges. Police say Jamie Robinson died after being hit by a car while walking on Highway 191. His family isn't sure why he was walking on the road on Christmas night.
He was a nice brother. He helped people if they wanted him, you know, to come and need him or something, he'd go and help them.
Police say Branham told them that he was not sure exactly what his car hit on Christmas Eve, and now he's in jail on a $50,000 bond.
Republican presidential candidates took to the stage in Houston for their final debate before Super Tuesday. Of course, someone had to take on Trump.
It was tough talk last night. This time, it was Marco Rubio who was front and center. He resisted for weeks, but in last night's debate, Rubio finally took on the Donald as the other candidates tried to claim the spotlight as well. Mary Maloney has some highlights.
Ted Cruz opened the GOP debate at ease in his home state.
Welcome to Texas.
Initially, the candidates played nice.
Marco, Donald, Ted, John, we will not solve any of these problems by trying to destroy each other.
America is an amazing country where a kid like me can grow up to run for president of the United States.
Cruz, John Kasich, Ben Carson, and Marco Rubio have one goal: stop Donald Trump. Rubio came out swinging.
You're the only person on the stage that's ever been fined for hiring people to work on your projects illegally. You hired some workers from Poland.
I'm the only one on the stage that's hired people. You haven't hired anybody.
At one point, Rubio turned the tables on Trump and clearly started to have fun.
You'll have many different plans. You'll have competition. You'll have so many different plans.
But now he's repeating himself.
No, I'm not repeating. No. You repeat yourself every day. I watched him, talking about repeating, I watched him repeat himself 5 times 4 weeks ago. And
I saw you repeat yourself 5 times 5 seconds ago.
I watched him.
Cruz took his own punch at Trump.
This is another issue on which Donald and I have sharp disagreements.
But Trump isn't taking the shots lightly.
I'm beating him awfully badly in the polls.
But you're not beating Hillary.
So
you're not beating Hillary.
Well, then if I can't beat her, you're really going to get killed, aren't you?
I'm Mary Maloney reporting.
Okay, on it went. Republicans will be caucusing in Kentucky a week from this Saturday, a week from tomorrow on March 5th. The state's Democratic primary will be on Tuesday, May 17th.
Well, a man has been charged with a murder that happened at an Allen County nursing home. Scottsville police arrested 35-year-old the Reverend, who legally changed his name to that, the Reverend. His original name was Robert Reynolds. Police say the suspect killed a 71-year-old man at the Scottsville Manor nursing home yesterday. They say both men lived there at that nursing home. Lexington police have a warning about car thefts. Police say in the last month they've received 50 reports of cars being stolen around the city. They say 14 cases. In the 14 cases, the car was left running and unattended before it was stolen. Police say in another 16 cases, thieves used a spare key kept inside the car. Police say leaving a running vehicle unattended is against city ordinance.
State leaders say more than 300 new jobs are coming to Woodford Rutherford County. It's thanks to an Indiana company. They say More Than a Bakery will build a more than $57 million plant on the Big Sink Pike in Versailles. Employees there will make cookies, crackers, other foods for major food brands and retailers. State leaders say construction will begin this summer and the plant will be open by the end of 2017. They say 310 jobs will be created. So good news there.
Yeah.
WKYT this morning on the air. 4:40 is our time on your Friday, and it's good to have you along with us. I almost sang, didn't I?
You said that with a lilt. I like
right.
it. Stress can be a major health concern if it's not kept in check. Still ahead on WKYT this morning, we'll take a look at one way to cut it down in our Mom's Everyday Minute.
Still have a few flakes out and about early this morning, but I'm telling you this, once we get off into your weekend, we won't even be looking at the possibility. I'll talk all about that forecast coming up.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Have those snowflakes flying across the region once again, pulling off into work early this morning. Actually saw a few flakes flying around. It's not much. It's not going to amount to anything around here. But you get off toward eastern Kentucky, and that's where you still have good clip of some snow showers flying on through. Let's zoom on in and see what we're looking at. And you get up north, and remember, northwest flow during the winter months typically brings us some flakes. Whether it's snow flurries or snow showers, a few flurries and a couple of snow showers really getting going once it hits the Appalachian Mountains. You can see that back toward eastern Kentucky. So yeah, we're going to get at least in some location. You see the higher reflectivity showing up, the brighter shades of white. That's where we're seeing the possibility of maybe a light coating. And that's going to be the case as we go throughout the next 3 to 4 hours. Remember, this only goes until about 8 or 9 a.m. and then fades away as that system really moves on out. But that's going to be the case the rest of the morning. So here's the deal. Temperature-wise, we're in the 30s. It's not going to budge that much more. We get into the afternoon, right around 37 degrees. It'll be another chilly day, but you know what? We may peek out some sunshine here and there. It's a possibility, but toward the afternoon, there's no chance of flurries. There's no chance of flakes. So really, it's during the morning hours, once again, 8, 9 a.m. is when it starts to really fade away. Then we get off into the evening. If you have any plans going on, it's still going to be a chilly one. Go off toward tomorrow morning, starting off right around freezing, pretty much where we are this morning. Let's talk about your weekend planner because it's extremely nice. 50 degrees on Saturday, 64 on Sunday. Now, if you date back toward last weekend, it was kind of flip-flop. Saturday was actually right around 70 degrees, and Sunday came in the mid-50s. So it's flip-flop, but you know what? It's still really nice. Sunday, however, you're going to see some gusty winds anywhere from 20 to maybe even 40 miles per hour as that warmer air comes pumping on in. It's going to be pretty much the same setup as what we saw last weekend. So then you get past that, right? So you're going with a winter day today, but then the weekend looks really nice. What about next week? Well, we have a front there on Monday, that shower chance moving on in. It's not really that much of a cold front. It's not an Arctic front, that's for sure. It's just a front rolling on through that'll give us that shower chance. And then it passes on through there Tuesday off into Wednesday, and that will allow those temperatures to crash once again back in the 30s. But what we're not seeing in your forecast, not just your 7-day, but your long-range forecast, we're not seeing extremely cold air filtering on in. Just not seeing that. So what you see is, yeah, we'll get up 50s and 60s, and then we'll drop it back down 30s and 40s, which is okay with me. That's not that bad, as long as we're not teens and 20s. And I'm not seeing a big system anywhere soon that will give us a lot of snow, but there's still some pretty active weather in your 7-day.
All right, well, we hit March early next week.
We do.
Yeah, it's about time.
About a month away from spring.
Yeah.
Just a month.
Yeah, I got you. All right. Time this morning is coming up on 4:47, and stress is a daily part of our lives, and we just have to find ways to live with it.
Sure. Some days that's easier said than done, though.
Yeah.
We can make it easier on ourselves, though, using something as simple as paper and pen. Here's today's Mom's Everyday Minute.
Hi, today we're with Lisette Khalil from the Wisconsin Women's Health Foundation, and we're talking about stress. Every mom has stress.
Absolutely.
But it causes problems for some moms.
It's a women's health issue.
Yeah.
It raises the risk of diabetes, of obesity, raises blood pressure, raises heart rate. It's a serious health issue that we have to take steps to address.
And be serious about it and learn how to deal with it. and you've got a great program for that.
I do. Our Every Woman's Journal program is a tool that works for many women. It's a free 2-hour facilitated journaling session followed up by monthly emails with prompts for more journaling practice at home.
It's the support that people need to follow up afterwards once you start doing something like it. Takes a while to be a habit.
Practice, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Great, thank you.
For these tips and more, go to WKYT.com. Click on Moms Every Day.
4:48 is our time on WKYT this morning, and we're glad you're with us on your Friday, the weekend. Yes, it's on the way.
Yes, with a big capital Y. We're getting a live update from Washington this morning on the president's plan to close Guantanamo Bay, what we can expect from the election in the coming days. That's ahead on WKYT this morning. Welcome back into WKYT this morning. It is Friday, 4:51. Yay, it's the weekend. Well, President Barack Obama is set to make an announcement he's been working towards for nearly 8 years.
Our Washington Bureau correspondent Alex Miller is joining us live this morning to talk about the biggest news in Washington this week and what we can expect in the election here in the coming days. Alex, good morning. The president announced plans to close Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. But it's not going over so well with members of Congress, we understand. So for those who are so strongly opposed to it, is there anything they can do to stop the president?
Well, they're definitely going to try to do something. They've already banned the administration from using any federal funds to transfer these prisoners. Now, Secretary of Defense Ash Carter says they really do need Congress's approval to move forward. But as we know, the president can use executive actions, as unpopular as that may be. But this has been an extremely bipartisan issue up until this point, and now it's become very partisan. Now, the president says that we'll be saving $85 million each year by closing Guantanamo. We've got 91 prisoners there right now. 35 have been approved for transfer overseas, so that leaves around 40 to 60 that may be heading here to the U.S. But the president says the reason for closing Guantanamo isn't really about saving money. It's about our allies and the fight against terror. Take a listen to what he had to say.
When I talk to other world leaders, they bring up the fact that Guantanamo's not resolved.
Now, the president hasn't named a specific site of where these prisoners will go, but I have to tell you, members of Congress from South Carolina, Colorado, and Kansas are very concerned because their states have been named as potential places for these prisoners to go.
All right, we'll see what happens on that. Let's talk about the election, as everybody is. The race for the president started with is shifting a bit. Hillary Clinton gets that win in Nevada. Donald Trump winning in both Nevada and in South Carolina.
So, Alex, is it possible for a turnaround for the other candidates at this point?
It's going to be very difficult, but I think by the time we talk next week, we'll have a more clear picture of what's really going to happen. But it can't be overstated enough how well Donald Trump did in South Carolina and what that meant, because he collected every single delegate. So Marco Rubio could have come in second or 92nd, and it didn't really matter because Trump got all those delegates. Cruz is planning to win Texas, and Marco Rubio says he's going to win Florida. But the problem with that is that Florida isn't until March 15th, so that's 2 weeks after Super Tuesday. So unless he picks up some states on March 1st, he's going to have that problem with momentum come March 15th. Now, Hillary Clinton is in a good place. She's about to head into her sweet spot. A lot of states that she's expected to do very well in, and you can tell Bernie Sanders knows it because he skipped pretty much right over South Carolina, and he's been campaigning in places like Virginia and Minnesota, where he thinks there's a possibility that he can pick up votes there.
Okay, certainly going to be interesting. And of course, we have our primary, it's actually a caucus for the Republicans in Kentucky coming up a week from tomorrow. Thank you so much reporting to us live this morning from Washington. Time this morning is 4:54.
All right, it is your Friday. Still plenty of news ahead on WKYT this morning. We'll also have another look at your weekend forecast.
Welcome back in. It's 4:57 this Friday morning, off to a chilly start. The weekend, though, it looks nicer and warmer.
Yeah, Micah, what can we expect?
Yeah, the weekend looks phenomenal. Until then, though, we're still going through one more winter day. I'm going to talk about this snow and also your weekend forecast, how high those temperatures go, coming up with another 2 hours. WKYT News.